a special guest joining us. Katie Lobosco from Tax Analyst is going to join us now. We're right in the middle of tax season. It is April 7th, and it's just an absolute shame for me to try to skip ahead to Mark Wayne Mullen, especially because we've had Katie on the show before, and she is a fantastic guest. Katie, thank you for joining us. I hope you can forgive me. How's everything on this Tuesday?
Oh, very good. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me again.
No question. And, we talk a lot about how every year you file your taxes and every year you get a tax refund. It's a routine thing, but that doesn't mean that it's the exact same every year. Here in April of 2026, what are some sort of maybe differences or adjustments that people need to be making in this process?
Sure, sure. There was a lot of changes with the one big beautiful bill tax legislation that passed last summer. So some people will be eligible for some tax credits that didn't exist in the past that have to do with overtime pay and tips. And then there's another change that I think that has flown under the radar more so, and that's about how the IRS is trying to shift away and phase out issuing paper refund checks. I don't think this is something that was top of mind for a lot of people, and it's causing some headaches for people who expected to get a paper refund check instead of a direct deposit like most of us do.
And is there a particular reason why they've decided? I mean, obviously, we move into an exceedingly digital world. Paper products are fewer and fewer in every industry, but any particular reason that the IRS is trying to make this shift now?
Sure, there's a federal government-wide initiative to try to phase out issuing paper checks in general. There was an executive order signed by President Trump that put this in motion, though the IRS has been trying to move away from dealing with paper for a really long time. And the reason for this is that they're trying to cut down on costs, make the processes more efficient, and also prevent any fraud. The IRS says a paper check is 16 times more likely to be lost or stolen or somehow tampered with than a direct deposit that is directly going electronically into your bank account, which can be a lot faster.
And that all sounds great. I mean, especially the prevention of fraud is obviously always a fantastic added initiative. But if you have people who say, listen, I'm sorry, but the paper check is really the only thing I'm comfortable with. It's the only thing I know. It's how I've always done it. I'm a little uncomfortable with having to deal with any new sort of submission. What advice would you give to them? How can they deal with these changes?
Right. So there are over 1 million people we expect to be getting a notice from the IRS telling them that, oh, we don't have your bank account information. Please provide us with it. And there's this notice. It's lacking a little information. So number one, I don't think people should panic. If they do nothing, the IRS will eventually send them their paper check like they expected. It just might be delayed. Those checks will be issued. The IRS says 6 months after the issue of this notice going out to taxpayers. Now, alternatively, if you have a bank account, you can go online. You have to create an online account with the IRS, and you can provide your bank account information. Now, this sounds simple, but it's causing a lot of problems, a lot of challenges for people who, think about who doesn't have a bank account to begin with. They might be a little less tech savvy. They probably don't already have an account with the IRS online. And we've talked to people who are experts who have trouble, finding out where exactly to put this bank account information.
Okay, so lots of pathways through which people can still make this work for them, including the concept of just do nothing and eventually you will get your check. And that comes as we all take steps towards, figuring out these new normals that we have here. So don't panic. I think that's maybe the best advice there. Don't panic. This is something that can be figured out. Now, you mentioned how this will help prevent fraud. I'm wondering if you have any insight into, is fraud a major problem with refund checks? Is that something that is, often targeted by fraudulent actors?
I'm not sure how prevalent it is, but I think it is more likely for a paper check to be tampered with than something so easy as something going the money going directly into your bank account. Now, some people are getting this notice in the mail about the refund checks and thinking that's a scam too, because we're not always expecting mail from the IRS. So also, I think people should be aware that this is a possibility that this letter is coming. It's not a scam. And also, so if you have to go make an online account with the IRS, people should also be aware that in order to do so, you're going to be directed to a third-party system. It's called ID.me. And this is how the IRS validates your identity. It's multiple steps. You'll have to upload documents. You'll eventually maybe have to talk to an agent live through the internet. And people aren't aware of that, and so they get transferred to the ID.me, and they might get nervous thinking that this is a scam, but that's actually the process that you need to take in order to create an online account with the IRS.
In which, I think maybe we might add that it's perfectly reasonable and normal for people to be suspicious about new mail or new messaging they get around money. I mean, here at 13 News Now, we are constantly reporting on new scams that people need to look out for, strategies to avoid those scams. So, anyone at home who is seeing these things and feeling that stress and feeling extra cautious, that's okay. That is the right mindset to have. That's why we try to have people like Katie on to help us, sort of make sure what is the right thing to trust, what is not the right thing to trust. So I'm glad you brought that up. That's an extremely helpful tip. Now, with some of the changes we've seen at the IRS, should people expect it to take any longer to get their refunds, to have all of their taxes processed? Will there be any changes with the timeline?
Right now, we're not seeing any major delays, but that's especially for people who already have their bank account information linked up. So if you are someone who was expecting a paper refund check, yeah, the refund is temporarily frozen, is the language that we're using. It's the check will not be issued for another 6 months after this letter is sent to you. So if expected your refund check in a couple weeks after you filed your taxes, that might not be the case. And even for some people who we've talked to who went through the process, they got a bank account, they filled out the information they needed online. That process took someone that we talked to. I talked to a director of a low-income taxpayer clinic, and he talked to me about one client he had. So first, the client had to get his bank account. Then it took over 2 weeks for them to figure out how to upload their bank account information. Now, the IRS says once you finally import your bank account information, the check should, or the refund to your new bank account should come in a few weeks. But that person, the last we talked to, it had been a couple of weeks and they were still waiting. So we're not totally sure. We won't be totally sure until tax season has ended and we've seen the data, how long it's taking. But if you are someone who are used to getting a paper check in the mail for your refund, I would expect it to come a little bit later than in past years.
Okay, good to know. So perhaps a little bit later. So if you don't get it right when you expect, don't panic. It could be coming a little later on down the line. I'm wondering, when it comes to tax season, are there any common misconceptions that you run into that people have with this time of year, the refunds to come, things of that nature? Anything that you would generally sort of try to change people's mindset on?
I'm not sure about misconceptions, but I think there's a few important things to remember. You know, online is always faster if that's what you're comfortable with. But the IRS does have live agents that you can call and talk to. Now there's a lot of skepticism that they're going to be answering the phone as quickly as in previous years due to staffing levels are down and so on and so forth. But if you're patient, you should be able to get somebody on the line to help you out.
Okay, good to know. A lot of, I like when I talk to you, a lot of the advice is patience, don't panic. We're gonna be able to figure everything out with anyone who's encountering some of these hurdles. Katie, is there anything else that we need to know? Anything else that you would want to add for our viewers today?
I just wanted to add a little bit more about how people can provide their bank account information because if you did get this notice in the mail that you should do this, it doesn't provide you the actual instructions of what to do once you get that online account. And so I just want to know, once you get into that online account, you need to navigate to your profile section, and that's going to give you the option to upload or provide your bank account information. Once you get into that account, it may not be immediately obvious where you put in the bank account information. So I want people to know that. I also would direct them to the Taxpayer Advocate Service. They have a lot of, this is an independent organization within the IRS. They're there to help taxpayers and make sure they know their rights. They have some information on the more thorough information about how to do this on their website. So if you are confused, I would go there to get some more direction.
Okay. Awesome. Lots of solutions, lots of answers from Katie Lobosco today from Tax Analyst. Katie, we appreciate it so much. This is such a sort of a busy time for everybody trying to make sure that they've got all of this in order. So we really appreciate you taking some time to hang with us today.